Sorry for stealing your rich boyfriend. I'm already pregnant, you know. I received a sudden call from my best friend, who confessed with an air of confidence and ease. However, I wasn't surprised at all. After all, her doing something like this isn't new. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel defeated when she boldly revealed her betrayal. Even though she always talked about being my best friend. So? What do you want me to do about it? I was surprised at how calm my voice sounded. Oh, stop pretending to be strong. You must be seething with jealousy inside, aren't you? My so-called best friend, who assumed I was hiding my true feelings, taunted me with a sneer. I was speechless. Could this be what they mean by being dumbfounded? It's okay. It must be frustrating to have your super beautiful best friend steal your man. But even if you say that, I won't give him back. If you don't have anything else, I'm going to hang up, okay? As I said that, she panicked and said, "Wait a minute." However, my self-proclaimed best friend, living in her fantasy world, twisted my cold response to suit her narrative, treating me like a loser. I didn't want to waste even a second on such a lowlife. I had to strike back to make her realize that it was she who would truly be upset. My name is Kate Campbell. I'm 30 years old and work as an accountant and secretary at a major corporation. I'm a little bit in happy mode, as I have a wedding coming up in 2 months. My partner is Patrick Collins, who works in the same company. He's 2 years older than me and works in the development department. We met when I picked up his heavy baggage after a collision, reminiscent of a scene from a drama. In reality, it wasn't the tall, handsome man who carried my stuff to my desk, it was me. Short and nervous, who picked up his heavy load and delivered it to his desk. That's how reality is. I found his somewhat unreliable nature, despite being older, somewhat endearing. Perhaps because I paid attention to him. I started bumping into him frequently in our large company building, and I couldn't help but feel it was fate. So, what's so good about him? He's so unremarkable. Maybe it's his sort of helpless charm? Kate, you really have bad taste. You're quite cute, you know? You could find someone decent if you tried a little harder. Hey. You're my best friend. And you're calling me a quite and talking about a decent people? No? Did you notice? Ha! Seriously, Michelle. I could never compete with a super beauty like you. That's good to know. Saying this, my self-proclaimed best friend, Michelle Owen, flipped her long hair. We joined the company together, and she works in administration. She just declared herself my best friend and, in a way, she's a formidable person. Claiming to be a super beauty without hesitation. She wanted to work in accounting or as a secretary like me but didn't get her wish. According to her, she took a lower position to hunt for men. Indeed, she did change boyfriends frequently, which was impressive in a weird way. One day, a woman in her 20s working at the reception had her boyfriend stolen by Michelle. And there was a commotion in the cafeteria during lunch. I was eating with a senior colleague from accounting when Michelle, the center of the commotion, showed up, and the whispering began. She's so rude. Why are they whispering? Just because I'm super beautiful doesn't mean they should be jealous. He fell for me because I'm more attractive. Ha! The person in question had no remorse and was completely defiant. It's a problem to ignore the presence of Michelle, who's causing harm to other employees in a place where we should be working. Kate Campbell thought, maybe I should consult someone about this. That night, I decided to consult someone about the situation. So, this is what's been happening. If I don't do something, it looks like more people might get hurt. And if the affected employees resign, it would be terrible. Yes, thank you for listening. That should do it. I finished reporting about Michelle over the phone. Michelle thinks of me as her best friend. But I've decided to keep my distance from her. With this thought, I decided to distance myself from her. Luckily, as a secretary, I often had to go outside the office. And during busy times in accounting, our lunch breaks would differ. So, for a while, I didn't have to see Michelle. We exchanged contact information reluctantly, but I never initiated contact. Michelle rarely contacted me, except to boast about her male conquests. Originally, she said she was seldom home at night or on weekends because she was always out. Anyway, if I could avoid any involvement with her, that was for the best. Sometime later, as Patrick and I were finalizing our wedding plans, I started spending more evenings and weekends with him. On one of those weekend afternoons, "Hey, we need to decide on the venue and plan soon, or we'll be in trouble later." We had already visited both families to announce our marriage. And Patrick had been indecisive as usual. Now, we needed to arrange the wedding. But he was still hesitant. "I'm fine with whatever you choose, Kate. We don't even have to have a wedding if you don't want to." No way. For a woman getting married for the first time, the wedding is a once-in-a-lifetime event. It's unthinkable not to have one. Then, even more reason for you to decide. Just stay within our budget, and I'm sure you have things you want to focus on, right? Really, Patrick? Don't you want to marry me? It's not that I don't want to, but I'm just not interested in the ceremony. I'm happy just being with you. Plus, I'm indecisive, so if you leave it to me, nothing will get done. Sigh. All right. But at least be there for the meetings, okay? I'll think about it when the time comes. He was indifferent and left everything to others. At the beginning of our relationship, I thought this trait was cute. But now I wondered if he would be a good father. This thought made me anxious. Well, maybe he'll change a bit once he becomes a dad. After returning home, I decided to look through wedding venue brochures and hope for the best. As it turned out, I ended up doing all the planning for our wedding by myself. Once the invitations were sent to my colleagues, a rumor started circulating in the office. "Kate, did you hear? Your fiance, Patrick from the development department, is going to be the next company president." What? Where did you hear that? I was confused when my senior colleague in accounting approached me with this. The rumor was about Patrick, and it seemed to have originated from his department. The phrase, "next company president," spread quickly, and before I knew it, everyone was talking about it. I rushed to confront Patrick. "Patrick, what's going on? What do you mean?" "About the rumor. I don't know. A colleague of mine started it at a department drinking party." "Didn't you deny it?" "Was I supposed to?" "Of course. We agreed to keep it a secret for now. But I didn't say anything." Ugh. Not denying it is as good as admitting it and spreading the rumor yourself. Really? What should I do? Will I get in trouble? With the rumor spreading this much, it's only natural you might get scolded, right? Oh no. I don't like this. Patrick was worried about getting scolded by someone. But to me, that was the least of my worries. "Patrick, I'm not asking you to be perfect all the time. But you need to pull yourself together when it matters." This kind of attitude makes me feel uncertain about our future. What can I say to that? Even in crucial moments, his indifferent attitude was too much. And I started to feel a sense of revulsion, doubting my decision to marry him. And then the situation took an unbelievable turn. Just as I managed to quell the rumors spreading in the office, I received a call from the last person I wanted to talk to. Kate Campbell thought, "It's from Michelle, why now of all times?" I thought this but still answered the phone. Before I could even say hello, Michelle had already started talking. Kate? Sorry to disturb you just before you're about to tie the knot. What do you mean by sorry? You're so cold after not talking for a while. But I wonder what you'll think after hearing this. Isn't it rare for you, Michelle, to beat around the bush like this? Well, you know. I'm trying to be considerate since I kind of think of you as a best friend. I'm so nice. Skip the niceties. What do you want? Sigh. If you're going to be like that, fine. I'll get straight to the point. Don't break up with Patrick. What a sudden thing to say. Sorry, but the wedding is almost here. Can you stop with these bad jokes? A joke? Oh, dear Kate, Pat hasn't told you yet? I felt a wave of dread at Michelle's dismissive use of the Pat. Sadly, we're very much in love. You. What are you saying? Realizing the truth in Michelle's words, I said I'd confirm with Patrick and hung up. Michelle added in a sugary voice, poor you, being dumped by your beloved fiance. Typical Michelle. Probably after hearing about Patrick's supposed future president status. She decided to snatch him away, dazzled by the prospect of money and elite status. Well, first things first. I needed to talk to Patrick. So, I called him that night. Didn't we already finish planning the wedding? Is there something else to do? What's with that attitude? Don't you have an idea why I called you before the wedding? Could it be about Shell? His casual mention of Michelle's name gave me a pretty good idea of what was going on. I wasn't interested, but Shell was insistent. And who wouldn't be flattered by a beautiful woman's advances? So you're saying it's not your fault? Exactly. You understand, right? Stop it. How could I possibly understand that? What? So, Patrick, you're saying you'd cheat with anyone who comes on to you? Is it cheating? How can you not understand? We're about to get married. And you're having an affair right before our wedding. If this isn't cheating, what is? But then, doesn't that mean you're also responsible? Huh? Lately, you've been getting angry all the time. Since it was Kate who asked me out and wanted to get married. It's her fault for not being able to keep me tied down. Enough. I get it. Let's break up. But in return, I want everything settled cleanly. Huh? So that's all your love for me was worth. Fine, I'll just be with Shell. I don't know what settlement you're talking about. But do whatever you like. Saying that, a frustrated Patrick turned on his heel and left. I hadn't thought he was this kind of person. The fact that I had brought our relationship to the point of marriage made me feel pathetic and ridiculous, and tears started to overflow. And then, I made a vow through my tears. I would ensure those who betrayed me received absolute retribution. When all the arrangements were in place, I received another call from Michelle. This saved me the trouble. Hi there. Thanks for breaking up with Pat. Sorry for stealing your rich boyfriend. I'm already pregnant, you know. But, to be a president's wife, you need more than what Kate has. Hearing this, I burst into laughter. The president is on my side, you know? That guy is unemployed and drowning in debt. Oh dear, has Kate gone crazy from being dumped by Pat? Really? I don't think I want to be lectured by a delusional, low-life girl living in a fantasy world. Hey. I'm being considerate here, don't get cocky. The president is on my side. As if. Talk in your sleep, why don't you? Too bad, but it's true. It would have been nice if it were just a dream, huh? Well, brace yourself for the reality that's about to hit you. With that, I hung up the phone. Before Michelle faces reality, let's talk about what happened to Patrick. Kate, what's this about? I have to pay compensation, wedding cancellation fees, and other damages all at once. A lawyer came saying if I don't pay, they'll sue me. Yes. Before talking to Patrick. After Michelle revealed her affair on the phone, I immediately consulted someone and hired a lawyer to investigate the affair. After confirming the facts with Patrick, I reported everything to a certain person I had consulted when Michelle caused a scene by stealing a receptionist's boyfriend, Grandpa. I'm sorry. So, that's why the marriage fell through. There's no need for Kate to apologize. But it seems Patrick was more of a puppet than we thought. Maybe Kate lacks a bit in judging men? Yes. I can't deny that. Both are to blame, but the worst one is that cunning woman. I should have dealt with her sooner after hearing from Kate. But don't worry, we've completed our investigation, and we'll deal with both of them properly. The person getting excited about dealing with them is my grandfather, who serves as the chairman of the large company I work for. I lost my parents in an accident when I was young and was raised by my grandparents. My grandmother passed away a few years ago due to illness. So it's been just my grandfather and me living together. Technically, there's also a live-in housekeeper, so it's 3 of us. Back to the story. The current president is my uncle, who has no children. It seems he had already decided that I, his granddaughter, would inherit the company. I was studying accounting and also working as the chairman's secretary to learn about the company. When I found a partner within the company, I suggested to my grandfather that Patrick could inherit the company. The 3 of us discussed his potential, but my grandfather never agreed. Perhaps seeing through Patrick's true nature. Then, rumors about Patrick being the next president started circulating within the company. I told Patrick that it was a conversation for the future and made him promise not to divulge it. However, he ended up running away from this conversation. Moreover, just before our wedding, it was revealed that he had an affair with Michelle and even got her pregnant. Patrick, as usual, tried to excuse himself, saying he never wanted children, but that didn't hold up. Through the lawyer, we demanded he pay compensation, wedding cancellation fees, and compensation for the damage he caused to the company and me. Patrick, believing he wasn't at fault but faced with evidence of the affair and the child, was hit with the reality that he couldn't escape this situation. He contacted me in a panic. Don't think I'm not at fault will always work. I don't want your money, but you need to face what you've done to me. Oh, and you can't avoid disciplinary action at the company either. Wait. If I get fired from the company, how am I supposed to pay what you're demanding? I can't help you with that. Michelle will be facing disciplinary action too. Maybe you two should figure it out together? Then I'll get back together with Kate. I'll cut ties with Shell. And I'm not even sure if the child is really mine. If I do that, there's no need to pay for the wedding since it won't go to waste, right? So, let's get back together. Enough of this nonsense, you puppet. Geek. Oh no. You've made him angry. I had put Patrick's call on speakerphone, so my grandfather, who was sitting next to me, heard everything and erupted in anger, rebuking Patrick sharply. A man like you doesn't deserve Kate. The idea of you becoming the next president is preposterous. Kate is the one who will be president. You and that sly woman will both be dealt with later. Come to the company. With that, my grandfather hung up the phone. This marked the completion of the first phase of retribution against the first person. Just as I was contemplating the next step, I received another call from Michelle, saving me the trouble of reaching out to her. Hey. What's going on? As usual, Michelle started talking without even a hello. Sorry for confronting you with reality. I mimicked Michelle's tone mockingly. What do you mean? Pat isn't the next president. And he's drowning in debt. And now he's getting fired from the company. You should be worried about yourself too, Michelle. The lawyer must have visited you, right? Yes. What's this about compensation and compensation damages? And, to top it off, the receptionist is also demanding compensation from me. That's only fair. You snatched away someone's fiance right before their wedding. The invitations were already sent out. You must properly compensate for that. I even taught the receptionist how to proceed with the legal process. Why? It's always you who ends up on top. Even though I'm beautiful, I always end up suffering. This was Michelle's complaint. She was envious and jealous of me, who was beloved and admired by everyone at the workplace. Engaged to be married, and in line to be the president's wife. She wrongly believed that Patrick was the next president. And plotted to overthrow me by snatching him away. If you keep harming others' happiness, you'll never find happiness yourself. It's sad that you can't realize that. I want happiness, so I try to take it from happy people. What's wrong with that? What you're doing is not taking, it's stealing. You're forcefully taking what's not yours. Despite my explanation, Michelle refused to understand, so I decided to end the conversation. Michelle. I think the company will contact you about your future. So? I said only that much and hung up the phone, knowing she wouldn't end the call herself. Then, Patrick and Michelle were summoned by the current president and my grandfather. The chairman. I was also asked to attend, so I went to the president's office. Excuse me. As I entered the room, Michelle was already complaining loudly. Wait, Mr. President. I'm pregnant and because of her. I'm now in debt due to the compensation. If I lose my job now, how am I supposed to pay back the money? Michelle noticed me and pointed at me with a puzzled frown. Next to her, Patrick was sitting, as indifferent as ever. Pat. Say something. It's your fault I'm pregnant with a child I didn't even want. You were the one who came on to me. I had no interest in you. What? You're blaming me, a woman? Sighing at the pathetic blame game unfolding, my grandfather entered the room. Enough. Your squabbling can be heard all the way outside. Realizing his presence, Patrick abruptly stood up and apologized deeply. Meanwhile, Michelle. Huh? Who are you? I'm busy right now, so irrelevant old men should leave. The company president turned pale upon hearing these words. Even Patrick, usually indifferent, contorted his face. Irrelevant, old man. Patrick Collins Shell, don't you know who this is? Patrick nervously glanced back and forth between Michelle and my grandfather as he spoke. If I knew, I wouldn't be asking. You must be some security or cleaning old man, right? Now I'm a cleaning old man, am I? The president was about to faint, unable to utter a word. This man is Kate's grandfather and... Huh? Wait, Kate. Why did you bring your grandpa here? Oh, that's right, you don't have parents. Acting as your guardian? What are you, a child? There's more to it. Shut up. Hey, old man. Don't you think this woman needs some discipline? Enough of this. You sly fox. What did you say? You old fool. Michelle Owen. Stop it. Is that how you speak to our company's chairman? As his secretary, I can't tolerate such disrespect. Continue like this, and I'll sue you for defamation. What, chairman? Really? Michelle froze at my words. She knew the chairman held all the decision-making power but had never met him in person. She could have known if she had just looked at the company website. What do you think this place is? It's the company president's office, you know? As I spoke coldly, Michelle, coming to her senses, collapsed weakly. Patrick Collins. Michelle Owen. You both have committed acts unbefitting towards my granddaughter, the future president of our company. In a workplace where you should be dedicating yourselves to the company's benefit, you've engaged in deplorable behavior and troubled other employees. Therefore, I am terminating your employment for misconduct. But excuses are unseemly. Yes, sorry. Michelle Owen. Anything to say? Well, I didn't know, but sorry for calling you an old man. I sense no sincerity. Well, fine. I'll refrain from suing for defamation. Instead, expect a demand for full compensation for damages. Kate, anything to add? No. I appreciate the chairman's generous judgment. It's been a learning experience. I bowed and left the room, leaving the two, unable to move, behind. With that, the matter seemed to be resolved, for now. As for the two who lost everything, they moved into a rundown apartment resembling a warehouse. Patrick, who had always been indifferent, could no longer afford to be so due to the hefty debt demanded by the company and me. Disowned by his parents and with a child born from his affair with Michelle, he was now juggling multiple jobs, working tirelessly day and night. Michelle, despite her beauty, had also accumulated a massive debt. Without money for cosmetics or beauty treatments, she rapidly aged. Feeling sorry for the child born into such a situation, Michelle's parents, although they cut ties with her, took in the baby under the condition that it was until the two could stabilize their lives. Michelle, too, was working various part-time jobs from morning till night. It was all a result of their own actions. I hoped they would reflect and at least become decent parents for their child. As for me, following my grandfather's advice, I was relieved to have broken off the engagement with Patrick before the wedding. As the future president, I decided to focus on my secretarial work and learn more about the company, aiming to create a work environment where no one like Michelle could emerge, where employees could comfortably work and consult about anything. Love was not off the table, but I thought I'd better develop a better judgment of character before meeting someone new. Since the incident with Patrick, my grandfather, the chairman, had been treating me with great kindness, taking me on trips and to meals on his days off. The housekeeper, too, had recently been caring for me like a real mother, teaching me cooking and spending time together in the kitchen. So, here I am, enjoying my days, both at work and in my personal life, feeling content and happy.